In today's video, I want to talk about a very interesting strategy that we use internally at the agency to scale brands to 8 figures. It's very simple, yet complex at the same time. In fact, it's the same exact strategy that we use to scale clients like this one to over $14 million or close to $14 million in sales in the last 12 months. Of course, not all of this revenue is contributed to just the one thing that we do, which is run ads. There's, of course, other channels and other things that contribute to this revenue. But one strategy that really helps us move the needle forward is looking at what is working in the market within your same audience type. And I'm going to bring you through a direct example so you understand what I mean, and understanding the framework of why the ad works. So long story short, we like to use tools like Atria, like Minea. I like Minea in some cases because you're able to see the comments and the shares and the number of likes. In fact, in some cases when you use Atria, which is another tool that is like a spy tool, you're not able to see comments. And I actually was speaking to a creative strategist that we're probably going to bring on board in the next couple of weeks. And he also kind of like having a conversation with me, spiked me to this idea that actually Atria, call it whatever you want, doesn't give you the comments or the shares, which is important. So in fact, I then went on and asked my team, and I asked them what tool they use. And they told me that they also use Minea, which is one of the tools that are available out there in the market. What you can do is that you can click on the ad and you can see, the number of shares, likes, and comments. So this is nothing new. Why is this important? First of all, it's important because what we want to identify is, first of all, there's two things and two options, and I'm going to dive deeper into some other diagrams here in just a second. As you can see, this is really important, but I want to talk about one really important thing. There's two options. Option number one, you go after a direct competitor. So you go maybe on the shops and you take a look at the brand and you go after a direct competitor. That you can do. What that strategy is basically allowing you to take a look at the ad of your best competitor, and you can like model it, and you could technically copy it. I'm not a fan of doing that directly, because if they have the same product, if they have the same exact funnel, the same exact this, the same exact that, then you're just in second place. So what we like to do on the other side is understand frameworks. So one strategy that we can utilize is maybe go after a competitor, that is selling a different product but is going after the same exact audience. For example, if we're selling a product that is helping people with back pain or slumps, in this example, as you can see, this is what they're selling, I would probably click on this ad because it has 12,000 likes, 1.4 thousand comments, and 2.2 thousand shares. What I like about this tool is that you can actually go ahead and see the ad itself and take a look at all these comments. So there's two main things that we want to do to be able to really take advantage of what we have, this information that we have in front of us right here. First of all, we want to read all these comments, because all these comments are comments that are of our customers, and a lot of these are shares, right? So they're shares, but we also want to go and kind of read the comments. Why is that important? Because we want to learn about our customers, come up with ideas of hooks and ideas of things and bits and pieces that we can go ahead and introduce within the video, right? But of course, the next thing that we want to do is actually break down this video scientifically so that we can understand a couple of things. First of all, we want to understand the ad framework. So how is this video composed? What does the hook say? After the hook, what happens? After that, what happens after that? Do they present failed solutions? Do they talk about, is there maybe a specific buying trigger, right? We also analyze buying triggers. Like, is there a motivational or emotional lever that is pushing people to buy? Is there a special offer? Are they nailing the talking about competitors and how they failed them, like past failed solutions? Are they talking about skepticism? What are the buying triggers? What is this framework of the actual ad? And then we scientifically break down the ad. Now, you don't have to do it like this because it may take some time. But one other way and form that we do it is that we just create kind of like this chart of, call it whatever you want, where we are able to segment the ad segment, the seconds by the frame, so we understand what happens and when, the B-roll shots that are required that represent and give us a visual representation of what is actually happening in the ad, and then the execution of the B-roll and the segment. So they're just a couple of notes, one or two sentences at the most, very short, and it gives you an understanding of the structure of the ad. Now, once we have the structure of the ad, what can we do? Well, we can create a similar script, right? But the most important thing is that, one of the most important things at least, is that we are actually able to go ahead and here and find, sorry, one second, this is my girlfriend texting me. What we want to do over here is basically go in and understand the structure of the ad, and we like to take a look at the ad entirely from A to Z. stop through it, write notes, and record the observations. Once we understand the structure, nice. And we're going to go over this ad in just a second, but once we understand the structure, we can go ahead and reproduce it using similar scripts, okay? Why is this important? We don't want to reinvent the wheel, okay? We don't want to just wake up in the morning and invent this crazy ad. And I'm not here going to start saying that, if you go on Reddit and you do the research, you're going to come up with a crazy idea with the ad. Like, we do the research on Reddit. Like, we go on Reddit forums and we do all that stuff. That's why we have a document called Holy Creative Document, where we have a customer segment and we record, as you can see here, customer reviews, TikTok research, Amazon reviews. You have to do these things, and you should do them as you move on and evolve your brand, but you should always have a proven mechanism of what is actually working in the advertising world from people that are promoting and pushing out products that are selling, if they're not the same product, at least products that are selling to similar audiences. Or if not the same audience, at least similar audiences. People are dealing with back pain, in this case. People that are dealing with whatever the hump on their back. Okay, so these are some things that we want to do. Next, let's actually take a look at this ad, and together let's make some observations on what observations we can make to reproduce our own ad. Let's take a look. On a side note, before I end this video, I am just about to launch a SaaS. It's actually for my own company. And so the idea is to have basically an AI creative strategist for you. The actual website where you can sign up for the waiting list is paid ads, or is it called paidadspilot.ai. You can go here. There's a link down below. It's basically your AI creative strategist. There's a quick demo of how it works. You can sign up for the waiting list. But the overall idea here is that there's a research agent, a scripting agent, an asset agent, and a performance agent that analyzes your creatives, your ad account, and gives you basically it's looping, and there's a learning process by itself where the research, scripting, and asset and performance agent just keep on improving over and over again. So there's a research, scripting, launch, analyze, refine kind of process, and there's so many other things within the software. If you are interested, there's a waiting list that you can join over here.
What'd you think? Then I watched. Do you have one of those weird neck humps? Watch this. I always thought that the weird neck hump was something that happened when you were old.
So give me a second.
Not 40. But then I started noticing it. Just
so I don't know. I
this little bump forming at the base.
So
do you have one of those weird neck humps? Watch this.
So the hook is very, very straightforward. One thing that we can notice is that this is a problem, or could technically be unaware to / problem aware, because the hook starts with, are you noticing that you have this? So it's in between problem and unaware, because of course, if you notice that, you either don't know that it's a problem and you're like, whatever, or you just actually feel the pain, right? And so you know that it's a problem. So it's a very unaware ad. In fact, they introduced the product at minute 3 of 5 or 2 out of 5 minutes. So later on in the video, right? So let's go on into the video.
I always thought that the weird neck hump was something that happened when you were old, like 70 or 80, not 40. But then I started noticing it, just this little bump forming at the base of my neck. And at first I ignored it because I thought it was bad posture. No big deal. I'll just stand up straighter, right? But in a few months...
So one thing that we can observe into the structure, and this is where, of course, we can go in here and start putting these things together and writing notes. But one thing that I would actually really focus on is understanding what type of video is it. Sure, it's a VSL video, but what type of video is it? In this case, we can observe that it's a storytelling. And I've done storytelling ads for my own clients, and they work very well in many cases because everybody likes stories. Everybody can relate to stories, and stories, honestly, they sell because they're very authentic. So one other thing that I noticed, that this is not an AI voiceover thing. It's not fake. A real person is speaking on camera, sitting down and recording a video very authentically. So this is the first observation that I can make.
It actually got worse. I was slouching more. My shoulders started rounding. I just looked tired. And honestly, I also started looking older.
So now it talked about, it was referring to unaware people saying, hey, are you noticing this slunch on your back? Now it's talking about the problem. I'm feeling older. Maybe I'm getting some back pain. All those things make sense.
One day I caught a reflection of myself in a store, and I did a double take and went, I don't recognize myself. But the real gut punch.
So the other thing that we want to observe here is what do we actually need to be able to reproduce, not copy, but reproduce something similar for my own brand? Okay, storytelling. We need somebody like him, a normal person, speaking on camera in a very authentic way, in a good tonality. That is what I'm observing here. Next thing, we need him to reproduce B-rolls. Maybe they're also using other B-rolls, but an observation that I'm seeing is that this guy is recording, right? It's probably a creator that they paid, but he's recording a video, and then he's also recording B-roll to support his voiceover, essentially.
I was at the grocery store, and this little kid behind me whispered to his mom, "Hey mom, why does that man look like Quasimodo?" I kind of laughed in the moment, but inside I was pretty humiliated. I was 40, and I felt like I was aging in fast forward. So after that, I went into fix-it mode, and I started Googling everything. Best exercises for neck hump. Best posture braces. Can a chiropractor fix the dowager's hump? So I bought one of those shoulder strap things.
So what he's trying to do now is basically saying, I've went through the research, I tried this. He's talking about failed solutions. So we would go over here, right, and say, hey, starting in this scene, I don't have it here. It doesn't say failed solution because this is another video that we kind of funnel hacked. But we want to go after failed solution. This is where the person, the avatar, the UGC creator is starting to talk about failed solution. So these are all observations.
Supposed to pull your back straight, and I felt like I was being strangled by some like medieval torture device. So the next thing is I tried a fancy office chair. That was nice for my desk work, but that didn't change a thing. Then I watched YouTube videos for stretches, and I did them religiously for weeks, and my neck still looked
still failed solutions, because everybody has this problem, right? And so what they're doing is that they're literally addressing everything that they feel and everything that they've tried to increase the levels of resonation. This is really powerful. And they're not talking about like a million personas here. They're talking about one person that has the slunch, that has probably the pain, right? And is going through all of this scenario. Let's see a lot of ads that target million avatars. It's not clear. If you're able to create an ad that is resonating to one persona that has one specific problem, one specific desire, the ad is, of course, going to resonate on a deeper level.
The same. Then I tried one of those foam roller contraption things.
Tried everything, you get the point. There's more scripts, but then after a week or two, blah, 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 all this stuff. Different. Then I stumbled across, he basically says I stumbled across this product, and then I was still skeptical. I'm not going to go through this entire ad. This video would take me too long, but you get the point. This is a very important foundation that we all need to do. We have to study winning ads of brands that are selling to similar audiences. Okay, not necessarily your direct competitor, because then you're just literally competing against them directly. It's also good because this is also untapped. It makes sense, right? If you're studying a brand that is not selling your same exact product but is selling to the same audience, and their ad is working, most likely that ad, and you're also noticing that it's maybe an ad that is a bit more different in some cases, then you're not competing against your best direct competitor. You're innovating based on proven concepts. Okay, people always ask me, do I always have to, sorry, my girlfriend here, do I always have to go after direct competitors? No, you don't have to do that. You have to go over proven concepts, and then you can repurpose them to do your own ads. That is it for this video. It's going to be quick. I also have to go because my girlfriend is bugging me. I have to go open her at the door. But that is it for this video. If you are a brand doing at least $100,000 a month, you can book in a call, and then we can talk about the opportunity of working together to explore that avenue. There's a link down below. That is it for this video, and see you in the next one. Bye.